This is ABC 7 News special election night coverage.
It is safe to say it has been an election year like none we've seen before. It's going to be a long night as the process unfolds tonight and likely in the days ahead.
We do know this. The early voting has been massive. The campaigning has been fierce, and concerns of unrest, they've been going up. So we do want to take just a moment and set the tone for you tonight.
Down to the very last second, this race has been tense, chaotic, and sometimes ugly.
Will you shut up, man?
But 7 is on your side because this election is not about politicians.
It's about you.
So in one word, why do you vote?
Right. I am a U.S. citizen, and this is my right.
Our right to do so.
I'd say democracy.
I would say equity.
A way to have a voice.
Essential.
We need to unite the country.
Our entire team is tracking the vote,
The analysis,
and the late-breaking developments to keep you alert,
informed, and empowered.
7 is on your side. We're tracking live results as they do come in from the presidency to local races and ballot issues. Live results are scrolling right now at the bottom of your screen, and they will be for the entire newscast.
A lot to cover tonight. We have team coverage on the issues across the DMV and monitoring the crowds at Black Lives Matter Plaza.
So let's get straight now to the race for the White House. President Trump and Joe Biden each need 270 electoral votes. The first one to get to that number, they become the president. Right now, as it stands, the count is 131 Joe Biden, 108 to Donald Trump. It's worth noting, though, that the battleground states, the big one, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Florida, Texas, all those states have not yet declared because the races in those states just too close to call.
Yes, so many states that are coming down to the wire. This is a live look at where things stand across the nation. We are keeping a close eye on some of the swing states, as you just mentioned, John, including Pennsylvania. That's a biggie. Georgia, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Florida. A lot of those states the candidates spent this past weekend circling back multiple times to get their word out. Texas also close tonight. We'll have full analysis on the results in the swing states. That's coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, right now, though, Joe Biden is watching the results from a Wilmington, Delaware. A live look at the stage that's set there. That's where Biden is expected to give remarks. And President Trump is holding an election party, a small one, at the White House, about 250 people, all expected to attend. Officials say that everyone had to get a COVID-19 screening before they could come to that party. President Trump is also expected to speak at some point. We will bring you those remarks live as they happen. But again, right now it sets up for a long night.
But first, we want to begin here with some breaking news. This is right near the White House. Tensions there high as crowds gathered at Black Lives Matter Plaza. There have been brief flare-ups between demonstrators and police. You're looking at one just earlier tonight.
ABC 7's Annalisa Gale has been there all night for us. And Annalisa, police, they have made arrests tonight. Tell us about what's going on down there.
That's right, Jonathan and Michelle. So far tonight, we know there have been 3 arrests here near Black Lives Matter Plaza this evening, including 1 arrest for disorderly conduct and 2 after an assault was reported here at 16th and H Streets. I shared some video on Twitter of one of the arrests that I was able to see in person, although there were some tense moments, though. For the most part, things have been peaceful here on Black Lives Matter Plaza, with people singing and dancing and some praying for peace this afternoon, including Don Folden, who brought a sign which said, "Stop hating each other because you disagree."
Man, we need to stop hating each other because we disagree. We have families that are divided because they disagree. We all are dysfunctional. You know what I'm saying? So nobody's perfect. And regardless to who wins this election, we're going to have to start the healing process. And the healing process is talking to each other and not at each other with this vindictiveness and division and hatred.
And earlier tonight, Mayor Bowser tweeted, and she said, "Stay calm and count every vote." So that is the latest right now for Black Lives Matter Plaza. I'll send it back to you.
Annalisa, thanks for that. And ABC 7's Tom Rouse, he's at our alert desk, continuing our team coverage now.
And Tom, you're tracking some breaking news out of Virginia. What's the latest?
Well, we got 3 congressional races, Michelle and Jonathan, we're keeping our eye on. One of them is District 5, which goes all the way from the North Carolina border up through Charlottesville and then into our area. It includes Warrenton and some areas of 66 west of Gainesville. Democrats hoping to pick up this seat because the Republican incumbent is not one of the 2 people running. Bob Good is trying to hold it for the Republicans. He's got a lead of just about 20,000 votes over Cameron Webb right now. However, still a lot of votes to be counted in this one, so that one's still up in the air. One race that has been called, a lot of the D.C. suburbs, including Loudoun County, parts of Fairfax. Jennifer Wexton represents them. That started 2 years ago. She will continue to represent them. She was declared the winner by the Associated Press over Alicia Andrews tonight. Republicans were still winning that seat 4 years ago. Now it's solidly blue. One other one we're keeping our eye on. A lot of votes still to be counted here, and this one has a lot of head scratching. Nick Freitas with a big lead right now. He's the Republican. He's trying to unseat Abigail Spanberger, who won for the first time 2 years ago. But I want to show you something here because it looks like the Republican has a big lead, but there are a lot of early votes that haven't been counted yet. This is Terry McAuliffe, the former governor. Please stop calling me about Virginia. They have not counted the 2.7 million early votes. They'll all be in by 11, and we will win big. Well, they're not in quite yet, and it is 11, but those results could change when a whole lot of early votes come in, and Democrats did very strong in early voting in Virginia. Live at the Alert Desk, I'm Tom Rousey, ABC 7 News.
We will come right back to you, Tom, when those numbers do come in. Thank you. Democratic Senator Mark Warner of Virginia is projected to win a 3rd term, but Republican Daniel Gade has not conceded yet. ABC 7's Northern Virginia Bureau Chief Tim Barber following this for us.
In Alexandria, Virginia, the U.S. Senate race was called so quickly by the Associated Press, Mark Warner's campaign started breaking down the stage around 8 o'clock tonight. Senator Mark Warner was a telecommunications executive for decades before he became governor and a 2-term U.S. Senator. Republican Daniel Gade was hoping to beat Senator Warner by labeling him a Washington insider. Warner says his priority now is working on the latest COVID relief package, which we should point out was stalled because of political bickering from both parties.
Virginians want us to get our act together. They want us to put them first. They know we live in the greatest country in the world, and there's nothing that we can't accomplish, but we've got to do that in a way that's united.
And Senator Warner says he has nothing but respect for his opponent. Tim Barber, ABC 7 News.
All right, Tim, thanks very much. And the longest voting lines that we saw today, you're looking at Calvert County outside the high school there. These lines stretched on for a long time, some telling us it took more than an hour, 2 hours even to vote. Skytrack 7 was flying over Northern High School tonight. ABC 7 Maryland Bureau Chief Brad Bell, he's tracking the results for us.
I'm Brad Bell. Election Day in Maryland, a story of contrasts of long lines and short waits. In Prince George's County, where there was historic early voting turnout and use of mail-in or drop-off ballots, there were virtually no lines at polling places like FedEx Field. But take a look at the scene in Calvert County at Northern High School, one of just 5 vote centers in the county, a 3-hour line lasting all day and well past 8 p.m. The Maryland Board of Elections doesn't report any statewide results until every voter in line has voted, so results were delayed for hours. Even so, with Democrats in Maryland outnumbering Republicans 2-1, the state was called for Biden early, leaving the 2 statewide ballot questions as the only mysteries. Question 1 would change the way the state budget is created. Question 2 would legalize sports betting, with the state's share of the take going to schools. At FedEx Field, Brad Bell, ABC 7 News.
I'm Sam Ford outside Eastern Market, where as most of the voting places today, there just weren't that many voters because most of them had already voted. Among competitive races, it seems that Robert White, the Democrat-endorsed candidate, will be going back to the D.C. Council, perhaps joined by Christina Henderson, who is at this point ahead. Jacques Patterson ahead in the school board race, and it seems that the Mushroom Initiative is passing overwhelmingly, 3-1. One interesting thing, see the drop boxes back there? Well, twice as many people voted by drop box than any other way. Reporting from Southeast Washington, I'm Sam Ford, ABC 7 News.
All right, this is pretty cool. We want to give you a unique perspective. This is live A live look in Philadelphia where ballots are actively being counted as we speak. Looks like a factory room floor there. Pennsylvania is, of course, a state that could make a big impact in the final results in the race for the White House. These live cameras are up to provide public access into the elections process.
And while you're looking at that, let me just tell you about Pennsylvania right now. 46% of the precincts have reported right now, and 54.9% of the vote is going toward Donald Trump, 42.5% going to Joe Biden. Remember, Scranton, Pennsylvania is Biden's home area, so he was hoping to do much better in Pennsylvania, but again, still a lot more precincts to show up.
That is for sure, and that's a state that they spent so much time in the last 48 hours.
And a lot of money there too, a blitz. A big question now is just how long it's going to take to get all these votes counted up.
That's the question of the night. 7 on your side getting answers. The D.C. Board of Elections will spend the next 10 days counting mail-in ballots and says results may be finalized until Thanksgiving. Maryland will also spend the next 10 days counting the mail-in ballots, with complete results taking a week or more. Virginia's cutoff for receiving mail-in ballots is Friday, and officials say they could have final results by this weekend.
Continuing our team coverage now, ABC 7 Chief Political Correspondent Scott Thuman. He is tracking the breaking developments from Capitol Hill. Good to have you along, Scott.
Yeah, Scott, there are so many takeaways. What would you say is the biggest one so far of the night?
Well, on the presidential side, and we'll get to Senate later if you want, but on the presidential side, I think the biggest takeaway is look at this list. These are a dozen states that about 3 days ago we decided these are the ones that we're declaring toss-ups that we think might go the distance throughout election night and beyond, and we don't know when we'll have answers on. Okay, all 12 of those states, if you look at this map right here, those 12 are all blacked out here. We don't have them yet, right? So what we thought may happen as far as here are the states that are going to be tough to call, that it's going to come down to. Indeed, that's what hasn't been able to fill in just yet. Now, some of these states we've filled in based on leans really hard or is in a safe column. But we're talking about 12 states. The difference now is how much longer, as you pointed out, will it take to get some of these votes. Now, Florida, we may get some answer pretty soon. They're nearing completion of votes there. But for states that have outstanding terms for how long they can receive mail-in ballots, like Pennsylvania for 3 days or North Carolina for 9 days, those are the difference makers. And that's why we still have to be patient, because we don't know if, yes, there may still be some ballots to be counted or collected, but maybe someone's got such an overwhelming lead it overrules that. In other words, the remaining ballots are moot compared to the lead that's already been amassed by one candidate or another. So that we have to watch for.
Oh, so much out there right now. We just got to wait for all these battleground states. And real quickly on the battleground states, Scott, do you see any surprises coming up for what's trending right now? Because most of those states seem to be going toward President Trump. You see any big surprises from that?
Absolutely. Arizona, still early, Jonathan. But for Joe Biden to have what looks like an okay lead right now in Arizona, that's a big deal. Now, Trump had that state by 4 points last time around, but look what happened 4 years earlier. Mitt Romney had it by 9. It's a place where you've got a growing Latino population, dwindling support a little bit for Republicans. It might be one that he can steal away. And we already saw the Senate seat flip there, or not yet in Arizona, excuse me. In Colorado, we saw it flip. Not yet Arizona. We're keeping an eye on that.
All right, Scott, we appreciate that. Thanks.
ABC 7 is out seeing the sights and sounds of election night on Black Lives Matter Plaza. Caroline Patricus took these photos, and 7 on your side posted a gallery on WJLA.com. There you can also find full election coverage on all of our local races. We will be right back with much more after the break.
This is ABC 7 News special coverage. Your voice, your vote.
And we want to tell you right now about one of the down ballot questions on the Virginia ballot. It had to do with redistricting and some reform of that. Basically, what this measure would do is take some, not all, but some of the power away from the Virginia General Assembly when it comes to redrawing districts after the census. And this is doing very well. Apparently, people want this. 1.6 million votes in favor. 819,000 against at this point. Still some votes to come in, early votes, so this could potentially change, but it seems like this is doing very well. I want to show you the one part of the state that doesn't seem to like this. That's Arlington right there. Arlington voted against it percentage-wise. Let me show you what the percentage is when I hit Arlington here. At this point, you got 52,000 yes, 65,000 no, roughly, in Arlington, but the whole rest of the state seems to like this question. Again, that would reform redistricting. By the way, even though it was a good night for Democrats in Virginia, this would potentially hurt the power of the Democratic Party because it would take some of the power away from Democrats who run the General Assembly and their ability to redraw districts after the U.S. Census. Live at the Alert Desk, I'm Tom Rousey.
All right, Tom, thanks. And no matter how you voted or who you voted for, this election happening in the midst of this global pandemic, we know it came with very high stakes. It doesn't get any higher than this.
High stakes and a lot of stress. ABC 7's Heather Graff spent the night talking to voters about Decision Day, and now the wait for what's next. It's new at 11.
For about an hour a day, 5 days a week for the last 5 months. Chris Gill has stood holding this sign here on 16th Street Northwest, just a few miles from the White House.
I've been out here since June 5th because of the death of George Floyd, and there was a bunch of protests up and down 16th Street. And so I thought it's not just a one-time deal. We need to show up all the time.
And on this election day, she wants nothing more than for people to show up at the polls.
We've got a couple more hours. Please go vote.
In the district, we saw several first-time voters doing just that here at the Brightwood Education Campus.
Thanks so much for voting. Help yourself to a snack.
And in Maryland, we met cousins Stephen Silvera and Brooke Bacella, reflecting on what's been an unprecedented campaign season.
As far back as I can remember, I've never seen anything like this before.
What hasn't changed is their family tradition of coming to cast their ballots side by side.
This is now, our third time voting together. This is just something that we feel is necessary for our nation. It's democracy.
By 8 p.m., polls throughout the DMV had officially closed.
What does voting mean to you?
It's the power. You have power if you vote.
And after that came the wait for results.
Who became U.S. Vice President?
With this Arlington bar hosting presidential-themed trivia to help pass the time.
This is probably going to be a long night.
And while Mike Callahan's team is winning the game, they know it's not quite that simple when it comes to winning a presidential election.
I think we're all just ready for it to be over.
It's something Chris has had a lot of time to think about as she stood holding that sign for the last 5 months.
I don't know if I'm going to sleep tonight.
A long road to Election Day. And finally, the home stretch is here.
And I know the process is going to take a while with all the mail-in ballots, and we all just need to be level-headed and let the process happen.
Heather Graff, ABC 7 News.
Well, good evening, everybody. It is a chilly evening, and we actually have some frost advisories to tell you about, and here's why. The overall big picture, huge dome of high pressure over most of the country. So like we were telling you last night, it is dry pretty much everywhere, and of course that includes our area. Gorgeous moon out right now. It was full just a couple of nights ago. The clear skies, the light winds allowing the temperatures to drop. So now southern Montgomery County, you got it into Fairfax County. We move right down into Prince William. This is the frost advisory that is in effect for tomorrow morning until 9 o'clock. You can see temperatures again are going to be in the 30s for most places. We may see a couple of low 40s on the warm side. So a coat in the morning, no doubt about it. You're going to want that. But by the afternoon, like today, man, things are warming up very nicely. We're going to go 66 degrees at 3 o'clock. I see mid and upper 60s for high temperatures. Then watch what happens on Thursday. We start out a little bit warmer in the morning, and we go up near 70 degrees and quite possibly exceeding that threshold and getting into the low 70s. But let's focus here on your 7-day for just a moment. It is a really, really good-looking 7-day forecast with a ton of sunshine, occasional clouds here and there. Models want to bring a little system in here on Friday. I think our high pressure is going to hold it off, so we'll just add a couple of clouds. We go through the weekend, we're dry 70s, but I want to point out Tuesday, we're tracking Hurricane Eta down to the south, and some of that moisture could get here by Tuesday. So Stormwatch 7, not pulling the trigger yet in terms of putting any rain on there. Now we still want to give it a little bit of time, a couple of days, see where that's going to end up, but just mark in your mind, in your calendar that we're dry. Plan something outside through the weekend with the potential for our next weather maker on Tuesday. You're watching ABC 7 here at 11 o'clock. Thank you for that. We'll be right back.
Well, today we saw a lot of folks in the DMV showing their civic engagement at the polls and in the crowds at Black Lives Matter Plaza as well.
But tonight, new tonight, ABC 7's Jay Korf shows us how a group shared their Election Day message through paint and canvas.
There's no greater feeling than being able to create. So my palette today, I'm using a lot of black and white tones, gray hues.
Demont Pinder is accustomed to working outside.
I paint and capture moments for a living, document history in a vibrant way.
But this backdrop, on this monumental day,
it's a very big day,
is a humbling first.
Today is Election Day.
Pinder and fellow artist Leo Wilson Jr. are working in the shadow of the Duke Ellington School of the Arts in Northwest Washington.
I'm here with the opportunity to contribute towards a day that's very important to many Americans, so I'm thankful.
They're among 14 creatives painting images of civic engagement outside D.C. polling places, including Capital One Arena.
Really trying to get people engaged, and we've been using art to do that.
This project, the brainchild of the Paints Institute Executive Director John Chisholm.
When you look back on 2020 and Election Day and everything that we've been through, this is your time to take stock of that and make a change.
And the message that I'm painting today is voting for change. I'm using Mr. Duke Ellington as a subject, being that we right here at the School of Arts.
I'm painting a piece that I'm going to call Choose Wisely, and it's just literally acknowledging people who find value in the voting system.
Voter Julie Baselli was captivated by Wilson's visual symbolism.
It wasn't lost on me that it was black and not white, the building, and that it was kind of signified dark times, and that he was also putting the flag upside down, which is a sign of distress.
While we each interpret art differently, these artists are clear in their hope that this election will usher in better times.
You know, just try to add more positivity into the world, a little bit more love too. I think that would solve a lot of the problems that we have today.
Let's just embrace one another regardless of our differences and our different choices.
Jay Korf.
And that's it.
ABC 7 News.
I'm Kevin Lewis in Montgomery County, where ballot question A would allow the council to increase property taxes beyond the rate of inflation. So far, 63% in favor of the idea. Ballot question B would lock property taxes to the rate of inflation. So far, 41% in favor of that idea. Let's move on to ballot question C, which would increase the county council from 9 to 11 seats. So far, 62% in favor. Ballot question D, however, would keep the council at 9 members and also do away with at-large seats. So far, 41% in favor of that idea. It is worth noting this is all based on early voting and mail-in ballots. Maryland has not yet published Election Day ballot results. In Wheaton, I'm Kevin Lewis, ABC 7 News.
Well, the National Cathedral opened its doors today for the first time since the start of the pandemic. The church is open again for a 14-hour prayer vigil for the election. The Washington National Cathedral Communications Director says the church wanted to give people a place where they could come and take a deep breath and get a reprieve from election anxiety.
And we are continuing to follow the situation at Black Lives Matter Plaza. In fact, this is a live look there now, and you can see it's quite the crowd that's going on there. We do have ABC 7 crews monitoring the crowds and also the police presence, which is significant as the election results continue to come in. But that really has slowed when you think about it.
Yeah, for sure. And that crowd appears to be on the move. Not sure where they're heading as they take a few steps forward, but we'll keep an eye on it. And this just in, longtime Congressman Jerry Connolly has been declared winner in his re-election bid in Northern Virginia. We will be right back.
Well, we'd love to tell you we have results, but this is all we've got for you right now. In the electoral run, 209 is what Joe Biden has, 118 to Donald Trump. All the big battleground states still out because they are just too close to call.
In fact, only a third of the votes in Pennsylvania in. It has been a busy night, and it is far from over. 7 is on your side with continuing coverage online. Have a great night.